Welcome. I'm the Parliament Raven. Greetings. Pull up a seat. Pour yourself a cup of tea. My name's Jason Rodriguez, and I'm the Parliament Raven. And today we're going to talk about finding your rhythm and pace. So, imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a vast forest. The map is in your hand, is old and worn. The ink is faded from years of passing through other hands before you who've reached here. Somewhere beyond the mountains lies the treasure you've been called to find. You can see the faint trail ahead, twisting into the trees. You start walking. The air smells of pine and earth. The light filters in through the branches, and for a moment, you feel unstoppable. So you run. And at first, it feels great. You're making good progress, but before long, your legs start to burn. Your lungs ache. And you have to stop. As you catch your breath, you realize something important. You can't run the whole quest. The journey isn't a sprint to the finish line. It is a long road that will require strength, wisdom, rest, and the right rhythm if you want to make it to the end. Hebrews 12:1-2 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance that the race that is set before you and us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despite the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God." So, if your life quest is not about running as fast from one place or another you can go, then the victory is in the distance. We must know that the quest is about finding peace, growth, and a rhythm that suits our daily lives. So, periodically I bring up concepts like this. You know, you're always going to get a quest from me. I wrote that whole intro a while back, and I thought it would be a great way to start a new year, if you will, for my students, for me, whatever quest. This is a great way you could go and move forward through this, or come back and listen to it again when a new part of your journey begins. So the quest is about direction, not a frantic movement or speed forward to get there. And I was at the gym and boxing the other day, and my thought was, there's a pace to move fast in any martial arts. You have to move slow. You have to get the rhythm just right. You have to make sure that your motions and your punches and your kicks for kickboxing is just in sync and in rhythm, so you not only do not hurt yourself, but you don't waste momentum, and you do it right so that someone doesn't knock you out. Now, I'm not saying I'm doing kickboxing to go compete. This Raven's too old for that, but I am doing it for health reasons. I like being physically active. And I was watching an old friend of mine, and he was just going all out and going fast. And being that I've done a lot of different martial arts, my thought was, well, he's going so fast, but if he was ever to get into a real fight or into the ring, there's so many holes that a guy could either punch him in the face or in the ribs or in the legs and send him sprawling to the ground or doubled over in pain. And that's the same thing about our quest in life. If you go too fast and you try to outdo it, you're going to get into a pitfall, or you're going to hurt yourself, and you're going to end up on the side for a bit, recouping or redirecting. So one must remember that as we go through and we train and we do things in our quest, whether it be getting coaching, whether it be listening to the parliament, whether it be taking a class at church, being in school that you have to go to, whether it be middle school, high school, college, there's a season and a time for everything. And that's stated in both Ecclesiastes and in numerous repeated catchphrases throughout social media and stories because it's such a good piece of wisdom. So rhythm beats raw speed anytime, right? If you watch a lot of training that goes on, we always know that finding a rhythm in something gives you a pace and creates endurance. Speed without rhythm causes burnout. And then you heard that in the story. You had the burnout of your legs, right? Yeah, I was talking about like you're sprinting and it's great, and then your legs start to burn, and then you run out of air. And that's what I mean by burnout. It's wasted energy, missed opportunities, right? So rhythm helps with consistency, helps with keeping relationships, maintaining joy in what you're doing, and finding a rhythm. I mean, for me, finding a rhythm in creating these podcasts is definitely helps me to continue them consecutively. The earlier seasons, you had big gaps. I'm trying to find the rhythm of not having huge gaps. And of course, this is why I'm recording this episode right now, right? So, how do we know that if we found our rhythm? Well, there's signs that you're in pace and there's signs that you're out of pace, right? Let's take a look at signs that are out of pace. You feel consistently exhausted or restless. You lost touch with your personal reflection or your prayer life. Your wins feel hollow. You have no time to celebrate from one win to the next quest. Your relationships have been pushed to the margins, whether it be in with your family, with your friends, with your significant other. And it's so important to have those close. So that's an early sign when relationships start getting pushed to the margins. It is a red flag of, hey, something's not in pace, something's out of wonk, right? So how do I find my rhythm? Oh, Parliament Raven. Check your compass. Am I walking towards my quest goal, that treasure chest? Am I walking towards what God has called me? Or am I chasing distractions? Am I doing hollow things like achievements on video games or just weird distractions out there that are not good for you, right? Am I chasing toxic relationships? Am I chasing a sport that's not for me? So what's the treasure in pacing, right? So what's the whole point? Why are we going? And you notice that the one thing I hate about doing these on videos is that I have to, you see me looking down at my notes. And when I used to do this without a camera in front of me, you didn't. So if you're wondering what's going on with why I keep looking down, I have my notes in front of me, but I don't have a screen to look towards my notes. I have the screen to look, right. Anyways, pacing, right? Recording and pacing. The treasure in pacing well, you arrive at energy with energy at your victory, not vomiting. I put that in there because there's been points where I've raced when I was younger. I did some runs and stuff, and I pushed way towards the end where I'm almost vomiting or vomiting at the end of them. I know that's gross, but it happens. Trust me, it happens. You notice beauty along the way instead of blowing past it. You're building endurance for the next quest. You are bringing others along with you, and you're now outpacing them. You're finding a rhythm and pace that goes well with others that are headed towards the same goal or are in a quest with you, right? They might be in the same direction, or they might be rooting you on, or they might be giving you rhythm. But if you outpace them in things, those people are not there. They're pushed to the margins, right? Like we talked about earlier. Philippians 3:13 is a good verse to go with this. Brothers, I do not consider that I have made it my own on my own. But one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind the strange forward and what lies ahead. straining forward to what lies ahead. I press on towards the goal for the prize and the calling of God and Jesus Christ. So Paul is talking about pushing forward, not only together, but continually moving forward rather than sliding back. Right. And that's great when it comes to pacing. We've talked about moving and being derailed and having to renew our mind because of that. So, what's my challenge for the week as we wrap up these ideas of finding your pace, finding your rhythm, staying there, getting the treasure, having those people around you? This week, look at one area of your life that you might want to readjust to maybe it's slowing down your pace, maybe it's pushing your pace too frantic, maybe you're just dragging your feet. Most importantly, are you matching the strides that are good for you? Like in running, if you overstep your stride, you're wasting energy. If you understep your stride, so is everything in your life what you're doing and setting a pace with lining up to that pace? Or are you doing this weird gait where you're do a few steps and then you're running and then you're slowing down and then you're sprinting, but you're over sprinting your legs? You got to take a look. So some practical steps. You can identify your current season, what quest you're traveling. Are you training? Are you fighting? Are you resting? What's going on? Where are you at in your quest? You can journal. Always going to journal and meditate. And for my believers, a 2-minute prayer when you're feeling lost or confused. So hopefully this is going to help you readjust your rhythm and your pace. Or maybe it's going to help you start a rhythm or pace. So I have a closing thought. The quest is long. The road is definitely winding, and the treasure you're seeking, well, it's worth it. But only, I wrote this down and I underlined it, but only if you have enough left in your tank to enjoy it. So walk, run, and rest in a rhythm that you're called to in that season. In this season. And until next time, pour yourself another cup of tea, and we'll talk again soon.
Like, subscribe, leave a good comment. Thanks for visiting the Parliament. If you want to know about Gravitas coaching, please visit gravitas.co. It's also where we host the Parliament. Join the conversation on Facebook at the Parliament Raven Podcast. Last but not least, the intro and outro music credits. Intro music by Russ Budgeon and outro music by Sarnav Aravistov.